Hello, my friend. How are you? I hope you're having a day. And if you listened to last week's podcast, you'll know why I said you're having a day. But, we're all going to have a day. So we'll do whatever we can to make it as good as we can. And today, my day is going to be awesome because I am talking to Elizabeth Phillips, and we are talking energy and Reiki and emotions and feeling good, right? Right,
Yeah,
Elizabeth? Right, Elizabeth? She says questioningly.
maybe. All about how we feel.
It's all
Yeah.
about how we feel. And how are you today? Thank you so much for
Oh,
joining
thanks
us.
for asking. Yeah, we're gonna have a fabulous day. I'm feeling really good. It's been a great day. I'm excited to be here. So
Thank you.
good.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for asking.
Absolutely.
And thanks
Uh,
for having me.
oh, for sure. For sure. By the way, everybody, Elizabeth has a podcast called Heal. And is there a tagline with it?
Yep, it's conversations to guide you toward personal growth and overall well-being.
That's a mouthful.
I know.
And I'm going to,
The first few times I recorded the intro, which I record every episode, I'd have to read it because I'm like, what did I say it was again?
so for everybody listening, I'm going to include the link in the show notes, but I was on Elizabeth's
And we had so
podcast.
much fun.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
And that was all about me, but today is all about you.
Well, it can be about both of us today. I don't
True.
care. Yep.
Okay, that's
I don't mind.
groovy.
I can share.
All right. But so the first thing I always am super curious about with people is how did you get into this thing that you're doing? And you can
Yeah.
tell people what you're doing at the same time.
Yikes, that's a really good question.
Yeah,
I'm long-winded, so you just stop me whenever you need to, Heather. Are you ready? Take a deep breath.
I'm ready.
I I am I was a teacher for 16 years in a public school. I taught kindergarten for most of those years, special education for some of those years, and first grade one of those years. And
Only one. That was enough.
that's
That was when you
funny.
left.
Yeah, I'm out of here. And I still consider myself a teacher. However, back in 2010 or 11, a friend introduced me to meditation, and um, I didn't start practicing meditation until later. However, I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of neat." I immediately felt weird and different after a meditation, and this wasn't even a relaxing, focus on your breath kind of meditation. This was visualizing. And this meditation, she said, "What do you see when you close your eyes? Try to empty your mind. And do you see any images or anything?" And the things that I saw, she said, "Well, pay attention in the next couple of days and they may show up." And they did. And I was like, that is bizarre. So that was my introduction. And then shortly after that, I was away and visited her. She was in California. She lived in Carlsbad. So the first time I ever meditated by myself was on Carlsbad State Beach, which was beautiful. So,
Right.
anyways, I think the energy there is amazing. Um, then, about a year after that, I started receiving Reiki, which is healing energy. And I know you know all about that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I started going to a practitioner once a month. And then I started to take her classes to be attuned and certified to practice as well as teach Reiki. And at the same time as I was going through those classes, I went through a teacher meditation class. So I learned more about meditation, more about mindful meditation, and meditate daily and receiving Reiki monthly. So throughout that phase, it was probably 2000 and I don't know, 14,
Time
15.
time has become a weird, elastic, strange,
I don't
bouncy
even
thing.
know. I have no idea how old I am.
Right.
Just kidding. Um, but yeah, it was around that time, and I was doing both of those things at the same time. So I was receiving, healing energy every month. I would religiously go to those my appointments, and
Right.
I was meditating every day. And I found a huge benefit for myself, um, and just wanted to share it with others. So that's pretty much what I do now.
That's what happens with teacher people, right?
I can't help it. Yeah.
I know. We were talking about that when we first met that, I have that kind of teacher
Yeah.
gene where as soon as I learn something I think is pretty groovy,
Yeah.
I just want to, I don't just like, this is so exciting. I've got to teach you how to do this.
And the benefits, maybe people didn't, I don't know if anyone on the outside noticed how much I had changed, but I certainly had on the inside. And that's really hard to explain, other than I know I was a little bit more at peace. I was less reactive. I was understanding why I would perhaps respond to things in a certain way, like going way back and into my childhood and to my experiences, and without a therapist. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Right?
Like all of this. Of course, I did get a therapist eventually, but we're friends now. Um, and I just absolutely love meditating every day. My mind knows exactly what's happening when I close my eyes and just take a deep breath. It's like, oh yeah, this I know it's happening.
Right.
Um, and if I happen to miss a session, uh, I notice it. I almost immediately can feel it in my muscles, through tension. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
So
Once you get used, like a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, I can't. I
yeah,
can't meditate. I can't.
no,
I
it's
can't. I
hard.
can't."
It's not
But
easy.
it's not, we never said it was easy. It's like,
But when it's not easy, it's worth it. Things
it
that are
is.
hard sometimes are worth it.
And I compare it sometimes to going to the gym, right? It's
Oh,
like,
yes.
so
Yes.
when you first start going to the gym, you're like, oh God. And you're sore and you don't want to go. But you go because you know it's good for you, because you can see the external evidence of what's helping you, even though it's helping you internally as well. But meditation, like you said, maybe no one noticed. They probably did, but didn't really know that they noticed. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Or they were too kind to be like, hey, how come you're not such a jerk now?
Right? Wow,
You look
she's
so
really,
calm.
right?
Like, well, what did I look like before? Although I knew it. I
Yeah.
was, yeah, I knew it.
But it's more the meditation is the inside change of like
Yeah.
living inside your body. And it is like you have to exercise that muscle as well.
Yeah.
And I've meditated for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, well, I've done yoga for, what year is it? For like
Don't
20,
ask me.
I think I've done yoga for, this is going to be scary for me to say out loud, like 23
Yeah.
years.
I know a lot of people who have practiced things like yoga, meditation, and Reiki for around that time. And it's
Right.
just, I wish I had come to it sooner in my lifetime, but we come to things when we're supposed to. And I
When
say that
you're
about
ready.
Reiki all the time too. Like Reiki comes to you when you need it. It comes to you
Yeah.
when it's supposed to.
And it
Um,
was it was interesting because I actually started meditating before I started doing yoga. I tried
yeah.
out meditation because I was a stress case. And yeah, so meditation, like once you exercise that muscle, it's actually not hard, like you said, to sit down every day and do whatever you can do. Like I usually do 20 minutes, but sometimes I do more and sometimes I do less.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because I was taking a I was going to art school as an adult, and this was probably 8 or 9 years ago. I don't know. Time is elastic. And on Wednesday mornings, I had a meeting, so I didn't have time. Usually, I meditate in the mornings, so I didn't have time in the mornings to meditate before I went to class. And this one guy that I used to sit with, he wouldn't sit with me on Wednesday mornings because he said on Wednesday mornings you're kind of bitchy.
Oh, wow. We noticed. That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And you
like,
know what? I think when
really?
talking about the outside and people noticing, I really do think that they wouldn't have, because for my whole life, I've always had this, you know, they might be able to read what I'm thinking in my face a little bit, but I really kept a lot in. So I felt it in like turbulence
Right,
inside, thoughts racing, anxiety, um, everything, like just constant, constant. So when I was able to find a way to slow down a little bit, um, and focus on something else other than nothing,
right. Yeah.
um, then I feel more in control of the inside. And I think that was really the difference. More,
And you
not
get
that
to
I'm,
enjoy being on your inside, right?
yeah, yeah.
A lot of people are
At the
always
very
looking out,
least, be very aware of what's happening in there.
right?
I mean, that's the first step. So if you are aware of what's happening in there, then you are able to be like, okay, I notice you, I see you in there. Let's shift you over here and focus on something else.
Right?
So, I mean, I think the biggest, I always say awareness is the first step. And I think that's what I mean by that. I mean a
I
lot
say
by
that
that.
too.
You know what I mean? Like being aware that you have many thoughts and then being aware that of those thoughts, like hearing them instead of just letting them fly through your head without any awareness
Right?
is really important. And if you can't sit and meditate yet, becoming more aware of the thoughts that you're having is a great first step before you sit down.
And I wonder sometimes if people have come to it with like, I need to fill in the blank. This meditation, I have to be able to clear my mind like a cool pool of. No, that doesn't actually happen to anybody who's
Maybe.
alive.
Not
Maybe the
me.
Dalai Lama. I always say probably the
No.
Dalai Lama.
Some monks maybe, but isn't that why they practice to be
Right?
able to? I mean, it's a practice. It's a practice.
Yeah.
My new favorite words, and I've adopted them in the past few months, is it's a practice, and I use that for almost everything. Like I practice sitting quietly and focusing on my breath, or on an affirmation, or on I don't know what my body feels like. I practice that. That means when I'm sitting there one day and my thoughts are racing and I just can't focus, I'm still practicing.
Still practicing.
You're practicing becoming more aware,
Yeah.
period. Yeah,
I
and
did
present.
something that I found I did a while ago was someone that I interviewed. She does a whole bunch of things too. She had on. Do you use the Insight timer?
I'm on Insight Timer as a teacher. I only
Well,
have a handful of meditations, but yes, I every time I talk to someone about meditation and they should be paying me at this point, I recommend Insight Timer because it's probably the best app that I've used.
it is. I've used it for a long, long, long time, and generally I just use the timer. But there is so much resources on there for people who don't know where to start. And
Even
one
more
of the
now.
even
They've added
more.
some more resources
Oh
lately.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Mhm.
And there's a teacher on there, Alice Langholt, who I interviewed not too long ago. And she has on there 30 Days of Peace.
Oh, nice.
And it's just like a 2 minute, 1 or 2 minute every day for 30 days of something to just sit with. So I did it just because I was super curious. And as long as I've been practicing, like I've been practicing, 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 I still had things happen from just doing something different than I
I think
normally
that's
do.
important.
Right?
So many people are afraid of think to change and trying different and new things. Um,
Or
but
they
I'm
think they
not
have the
sure.
answers. I don't know all the answers. Oh my God, are you
Right?
kidding
I
me?
know. I mean, we could sit in meditation and have one affirmation or just focus on the breath, and that would be so beneficial. But what if you tried a visualization and you were like, holy cow, my mind just went somewhere else completely? Wow, would that be nice? Like just try something different.
Do you find that people who are visual learners are better at visualization than
Well,
others?
I'm a visual learner and I haven't really been great at visualization.
Hmm.
So, well, I'm really like a hands-on kinesthetic and visual learner. So, Um, but I have to tell you, I don't know. I was not good at just meditating on my breath for a long time,
But you
you
didn't
know?
stop breathing, right?
Oh my God. So when I first started going to a class to meditate, I would open my eyes, like squint oh, you can see me, right? I, sorry, whenever I record podcasts, I'm not on video,
Well,
but I
some
would,
of this will go to audio, so
okay.
the people
Well,
who
I would squint,
aren't watching are listening.
my eyes would be closed. I'm going to try to describe this with words too. And I would just like peek one eye open a little bit and I would look around the room and be like, what's everyone doing? And then I would look at the teacher and be like, what's he doing? Is he looking at his phone? What is he doing while he's guiding us? It was awful. That's how I started meditating. So if you're anything like me, you can do it.
You can still do it. If that's where you start, that's okay. I always,
Yeah.
when I talk to people about yoga, I say if you're coming to yoga because you want the yoga butt, start there because we got to start somewhere. We got
Yeah.
to start where you are.
I go for
Right.
Shavasana. So there are often times that I'll attend a class that I have here at my studio, and I tell the teacher, if you see me lay down, don't worry about it. And she's like, oh no, you do what you need to do. This class is for you, whatever you need. And I'm like, yep, laying down in Shavasana. I have an eye pillow. I have pillows under my legs. I have a blanket, and I'm just spread out like my arms are in a T, and I just lay there and meditate. And I say, I did yoga today.
That's yoga.
It is.
It's not about asana, right?
Right.
It's all the parts. It's all the parts. And for my friends who don't know what asana is, that's the postures. And maybe what you need is yoga nidra.
Well, I actually guide yoga nidra once a month here at my
There you
studio
go.
as well.
Where
Yeah.
is your studio again?
I'm in Massachusetts,
Massachusetts.
in the United States of America.
Yes. You're not that far away from me. I mean,
Yeah, so we're south between Boston and Providence, Rhode Island. If you know where Rhode Island is.
I've been to Boston.
Yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
Salem.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm far, far away from Salem, probably a good hour and a half.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you, because my brain bounces around, is so you were getting regular treatments for yourself. Do you still do that?
So one of my very good friends is also a Reiki master. Um, I don't and teacher. Yep, she's also a Reiki master teacher. I was just trying to think if she was. And she and I will swap
Wow.
Reiki. Yep.
Because I was like, sometimes when I remember my Reiki teacher saying, you can do Reiki for yourself. And I also did acupuncture for a long time. And I would give myself acupuncture, but some stuff is hard to reach.
You really would give yourself acupuncture?
Yes, I would really give
Wow,
myself
that's
acupuncture.
impressive.
But I'll tell you, if you know where the piriformis muscle is, that's a hard muscle to reach for yourself. So
Where is that muscle?
it's in your butt. It's in your butt.
I figured it was close to my butt.
So, and I was talking to an acupuncturist at one point, and he said giving yourself acupuncture is kind of sometimes like trying to tickle yourself. It doesn't feel as effective. And I'm like, I give myself Reiki, but sometimes I think, I wonder if the experience of it is kind of like trying to tickle yourself or give yourself
I think it
acupuncture,
is. I think it
right?
is. Yes, it's beneficial. Of course, you're receiving the healing energy. However, if you're giving yourself Reiki, you're not fully relaxed. You're not, it's different.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
that's true.
Yep. So yeah, we swap. Now we've been off a few months here and there. I definitely could benefit from having a session soon, but that's what we do. We swap. And as a matter of fact, just 2 days ago, I was like, we have to make an appointment, and we didn't.
Right? There's always stuff going on in life, the world, and everything.
Yeah. I also go to a great healer. I'm not sure she'd want me to mention her name. She's very quiet. But I had a session this morning with her, and she does some releasing as well of blockages and cords, like cutting cords and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So I go to her as well.
Well, I mean, unless she does it virtually, I don't know that people would be, or they're in near you, they won't be
Yeah, no,
banging
no, no,
down her
no. I
door.
just to answer the question, do I
Do you,
do Reiki from someone? Yeah, and I do this as well, and it's almost like body testing. You know
oh,
about that?
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
So
emotion code?
it's tied into that. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, emotion code is a very interesting. There are so I last week's podcast I was talking about how a lot of the world seems to be more open to what's being referred to as the woo.
Where did that word come from?
I don't know because everybody said, "Oh, that's too woo woo."
I know, I know that, and I'm like, for some reason that term bothers me, and I don't know
Oh,
why I let it bother me so much.
I don't know because I'm embracing the woo.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you try something new and different if it made you feel good,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And I remember the first time I went to a naturopath, which was very new and different because, if you came through the Western medical and suddenly you went to a naturopath and they asked you all these questions about when was the first time you were ever sick in your whole life and you're in your 40s and you're like, I don't know. I'll ask my mom
Right?
because yeah, it's like they're trying to track your whole life and he spent 2 hours with me where, my doctor would spend 15 minutes with me. Now they're looking for different things, right? But if you have never experienced that, it's very foreign. and very strange. And I remember him saying to me, well, we're going to do this and this and this, and you're going to feel better. But at first, you're going to feel worse.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So he called it the healing crisis.
That's kind of like a spiritual awakening.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
I don't know. All right, tell me, can I just go off the
Go,
topic for a second?
go around. Yeah, do it.
Want your theory on spiritual awakenings and how many of those can you have in a lifetime? I ask because I
Infinite.
swear I've had like several, and maybe they're just times in my life where I have these major epiphanies, like crap is happening, and I'm just like, whoa. And then I realize something out of that crap is like, okay, I get it. This is why this is
Yeah.
happening. I mean, I've had several of those like life altering spiritual type healing, if you will, moments.
And you come out different on the other end.
Yeah, because once you know something, you know it.
Yeah.
You're not going to go back.
We don't get it's not like I can't remember what that program was where you could erase your brain. He wanted to erase
Sounds like my life.
he wanted to erase the memory of his girlfriend.
Yeah,
And
it's not ringing a bell.
yeah, I know. It's like, it was not a great movie. I don't even think I actually watched it. The thing about Hollywood is I don't have to watch most movies. I watch the trailer and I've got the whole movie. I can tell you what happens.
Same.
But
That's
I
so funny. I'm the
believe,
same way.
right? No, I don't need to pay money to go see that.
I
I
know
already know it's
exactly
going
what's
to,
going to happen. I'm good. Yeah.
yeah. But I think, so imagine how vast just our galaxy is,
Got
even
it.
though energetically, like it's only our concept of size. And then how many galaxies are there? And then like out and out and out and out and out. And I can't even make my hands big enough for the screen.
Right.
So, and how many infinite, because our brains can't wrap our minds around that big a number, stars, planets, suns. That's how many spiritual epiphanies you can have.
I am not prepared for that, Heather.
You don't have to do it all in one lifetime.
I think I did most of it between 2015 and 2022.
Right? So
Yeah, they keep coming. Like
it's
things
like
keep
practice.
happening.
Think of it
Yeah.
as practice.
Listen,
So,
my next book, like I wrote a first one already, which I haven't, but my next book, because I am writing one, is going to be something like it's a practice. Like I've been saying that so much lately. It also gives me a little bit of grace, like if I say I'm going to do X every day and I don't do it that great one day, I just remind myself that you're practicing. It's
right?
just a practice.
Yeah, it's not to beat yourself up. It's not to, you know, give yourself a hard time.
Right.
It's like, what's that guy? James Clear, the Atomic Habits guy. It's like, do little things every day. So I try to I do meditate every day. Now that I don't have 7:30 a.m. meetings on Wednesdays, but and I'm very much like, no, it's just a habit. Like it's my habit now, and I just do it. But yep, there's some days that I only have 5 minutes, so I only do 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yep.
something will happen. Like if I'm sick, obviously it's going to be a little harder for me to sit quietly, but I'll do my best. But it's little things build into bigger things, and if you don't do it, that doesn't mean, oh, why even bother? I failed already. It's like,
That's how
oh,
I lived my life before now,
I think
is
that's how a lot of people do,
yeah,
right?
I can't do it the way that I envision it and my expectations of it, then I'm going to stop. Like, what's the point? And
And then,
that's so bad.
and what if your expectation isn't even as big as it could be? So sometimes I think people have this idea of this is how this is going to work. And their blinders are on for that particular thing to the point where it's not working, it's not working, it's not working, but they can't see this like beautiful thing right here. It's like if they just turned a little bit, it's like, whoa, look at that.
Yeah.
I could do that
Or
instead.
or you apply for 50 jobs and then you get the one that you think you didn't even want and you get it and you're there and it's like this is the most amazing job I've ever had in my life. And all of those 50 jobs didn't work out because they weren't supposed to.
Right.
And meanwhile, you're stuck in that why am I not being hired for this? Why do they think I'm not qualified enough for this. What? I mean, I can say this because this literally just happened.
Right.
And I'm like, I have a lot of experience and skills. Why are they not even calling me for an interview? So yeah, we tend to think things are going to happen a certain way. We want them, and this is how we think they're going to happen. And sometimes those things do happen, but how you get there is completely different.
Right.
How you get to the place. And then when you stop for a moment and that awareness that we talked about earlier is there, and you look back and you're like, wow, this is exactly what I was hoping for. This was
Right.
exactly what I wanted.
Or
But I
even
didn't get
better.
there the way that I thought I was going to get there.
And sometimes it's better because you are like you're limited by what you can imagine, and the if you want to call it the universe is not limited by what you can imagine. It's
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's imagining something even more massive,
Mm-hmm.
and it may take you walking across the hot coals to get there.
Yep.
As my metaphor for crap, like
Well, I appreciate you saying that because I feel like walking across hot coals is so much more positive than crap, because all of the stuff that I went through, I don't feel like is crap. It was just a word to, describe how it felt.
yeah,
But I'm so grateful because here I am right now, and
right.
I kind of like where I am right now. So,
Well, and sometimes you can't see until you get through it to the other side
yeah.
to have that look back. I remember when my landlord gave me, was it I think 2 months, 3 months, closed my yoga studio and my apartment was attached to it and kicked me out of my apartment.
Yes, I remember talking to you about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had that, oh my God, what am I going to do? My business is closed. I have no home.
Yeah.
Like there was that, holy crap. But as much as I was upset, luckily my husband is the most calm man on the planet. He just went, let's just find somewhere new to live. And I said, okay. And we found one in 3 days. And that's where I am now. And I love it. I'm like, I never would have moved because I was settled. I wasn't in a rut, but kind of a rut, I was in a routine
Well, you know what I find
where there was
interesting
more.
about that statement that you said about your husband, the most calm person that you know, and said, let's just find a new place to move. Um, it's almost as if his calm helped you to become less, reactive and upset. And because he was calm about it, and perhaps you became more calm about it, it happened.
It did
There's
happen.
no resistance. If you had
No.
all of that resistance, it probably would have taken you longer to find a place.
And if he was freaking out too, oh my God.
Oh, geez, that would have been awful.
And by the way, he meditates every day as well,
Good for him.
right?
Yeah,
I
good.
meditate every morning. He meditates every night. I always say I can't meditate at night. I fall asleep.
I shoot for 4 o'clock in the morning first when I wake up, and then I shoot for like 4:30
In
too.
the morning?
In the morning when I wake up, it's about 5:45, but in the afternoon I shoot for after like 4:30.
Okay.
I get up at all weird hours of the morning. I've been having weird dreams lately.
I do that every night. I ask my subconscious, this is something I got from another podcast. I ask my subconscious before I go to sleep. Usually I ask it a specific question. It doesn't always answer me in a way I can understand.
But
But
it
it
answers
gives,
you, and then
but
you
it,
have to figure it out,
then I
right?
have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But just one moment to flip back to your imagination isn't big enough. When we have a vision of our goal, still have a vision of your goal, but leave. This is one of my favorite quotes from
The
one of the
how.
coaches I listen to.
How.
Leave margin for magic.
Oh, I like that a lot because there
Right?
always is going to be something that you don't expect. And if you leave margin for magic, it almost leaves that idea that, ooh, here's the magic. Like it puts a positive spin on it
Yeah.
instead of, in that negative space where how come this isn't happening?
How
That
come it's not
this is
working? How come it's not
happening.
working? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
And we were talking, so I had this idea about Reiki. So Reiki, because we talked about the chakras right before we came on.
Oh,
About
probably right before we came on, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was right before we came on, about emotions affecting
Yeah.
all of your parts.
Yeah, so I also read the emotion code, and I also took this body testing class, and I'm certified in that as well. Um, so I use all of that in Reiki when I'm working on someone to determine if there is an emotion, because emotions have energy. So when you're working with energy, you're also working potentially with emotions that might be trapped in in the energy system of the body. So Reiki, when I balance clients during a Reiki session, I also inquire as to energetically inquire as to whether or not there is an emotion trap that I can release today. When did they hold on to that, grab onto that emotion? Where is it? In which chakra? Can Reiki release it? Should we try tapping? And these are questions that I ask, and tapping, an affirmation, Reiki. I go through all the things that I know, and then if in fact it will be released with Reiki, then I work on that during the session. If it's an affirmation or oils, like aromatherapy, then I'll make a little roller and send them on their way. But those are the little things that I do. So I do work with emotions and how they are trapped in the energy system of the body, and to try to figure out the origin of it and if we can release it. And that's what I do.
And you don't need to know the story, right?
No,
It's like, because I remember I was talking to a woman. Do you know Cora Naylor?
I don't
She
think so.
she does. She's in Western Canada. Yes, she does the emotion code,
Yeah.
and she was talking about how you can identify the emotion without having to know, like relive the story of what it was and
Yeah.
release it, which is
No, and oftentimes an emotion is not yours that you took on. It's like a
right.
parent's emotion that you took on at age 5. Like it's just something that has attached to you and you took it on as yours.
I
So
always
no, you
picture
might
the
not
little
know the story.
I always picture the little bubbles, bloop
Yeah.
bloop bloop bloop, popping.
Mine are like daggers. They're like just kidding. Mine are like a fishing hook that has that other hook that you
Oh,
can't.
the barb.
Yeah.
What do you tear on when you bring it out?
But you've been
No.
doing yoga for 20 years. I haven't been. So that's why mine looks so violent.
Right. Mine are just bubbles. I call
Yeah,
them emotion bubbles.
just
It's
popping
interesting,
away.
right?
Yeah.
I started calling them emotion bubbles when I started teaching Tai Chi. It wasn't even when I met Cora.
I love that.
Because I would be teaching Tai Chi and then I'd be like, whoa, if I feel like I'm going to cry, everyone just keep moving. La 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 la. Like I'm teaching. And I called it emotion bubbles. Like
That's
something is,
perfect. That happens to me during a Reiki session sometimes. I can feel that emotion of if I'm at someone's heart center, which is in the middle of their chest, um, and it's heavy feeling. Sometimes I get really emotional, and I don't know if I'm releasing for them or if I'm just experiencing what they're feeling. But I let them know, obviously, I'm feeling heaviness and it's very emotional. And a lot of times they'll share why they think that's
right.
happening. Um, so it's Reiki is amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it is amazing.
Yeah,
And I think it's a super and gentle, powerful and gentle way of treating, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
do you do online as well as live in person?
I haven't done Reiki healing online, and I
Oh,
also have not done any classes online to attune. I am such a hands-on. I'm a hands-on Reiki person. I tend to put my hands on in appropriate places, um, but I don't hover a lot.
the
Whereas
hover.
my friend Mary Allison, who gives me Reiki, learned completely different. And she doesn't do any hands on anything. She just is all over the place and just around me. And I haven't explored online virtual kind of things. I do some online offerings as far as meditation classes. I do have some workshops that I've done online through Zoom during the pandemic, which I would love to do again. But I just don't have anything right now for Reiki, other than I send distant healing sometimes. And I do have a group of students that I've attuned and certified. And we have a group on Facebook that we send distant healing to. So I'll send a name or initials and ask them all to send healing, and they do. So,
Oh, that's nice.
but no, I haven't done any classes or healing online. I've done angel card reading online.
You
Um,
do have stuff online. It's just not the Reiki.
yeah,
You
and
sh-
I don't really advertise it, but I absolutely can do a lot of it virtually.
right. I know. I talked last year, over a year ago, to a Reiki teacher who was starting to train people online because we couldn't meet in person. So
Yeah.
maybe it was 2 years ago. Let's talk about time again, elastic.
Doesn't
And
matter.
she said, she was hesitant to train people and
Mhm.
attune people online, but she said, but it's energy. So
Exactly.
she found that it was actually, she actually did find it effective. I was like,
That's wonderful because I question my ability to do that, and that really just comes from my confidence.
your
I'm very
3D,
confident in
your
my ability.
visualization of the 3D world, right?
Yeah,
If
so it's
we,
I have a hard time like, okay, you're over there and I'm going to attune you. I just I don't know. And you're right. Maybe it's a limitation in my mind. Um,
we do get caught up in the 3D world because
I
that's where we
am.
live,
Yeah,
right?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's the same coach who has the Margin for Magic. He talks about the 3D a lot. He said, and interestingly, he's a coach who teaches people how to have online digital courses. Like he's really good, but he also lives in the woo. And he's like, you're stuck in your 3D world of what your expectations are. Let's move outside the
Yeah.
3D.
I've
And
been stuck in my 3D world for a while. I work my way out of it and then I go home and I work my way back into it. I don't even know if that's possible, but I'll tell you, after a day of teaching Reiki or a day where I have three, I usually don't take more than three people in a day, back to back sessions. I'll go home and the first thing I want to do is have a hamburger and a beer. And I'm like, no, Liz, don't do it. Don't do it. I always feel like I'm way up here energetically when I'm
maybe you
working.
just need a couple of crystals or
Yeah,
something.
maybe I can go for a walk.
Like put your feet in the dirt or something.
Yeah, maybe I should just do yoga, for real yoga,
Whoa, like not just Shavasana.
right? Instead, I'm like, burger, beer. What do you got? Let's go.
Something heavy.
It
Those are
brings me
very
right down.
heavy,
It brings me right down. And
right?
I'm trying to get away from that. Once I realized the pattern, it took me a few years.
You know,
I'm
that's
a slow
okay.
learner. So once I realized the pattern of teaching Reiki, it was usually a teaching Reiki day because that's hours. It's all
Right.
day.
Yeah.
Um, And once I realized that that's when I was really doing it. Also, I never ate before I came in for a class. And I always felt like, and it wasn't a choice. I just wasn't hungry. I wouldn't eat. And I think I needed to feel empty inside to be able to send energy. And I know that's probably not accurate. However, I feel like there's some truth to it. I need to be empty enough to send that energy.
Well, because you're the channel, right?
Yeah. And so then when I would get home, I would be hungry.
Right. That makes sense.
But I also would pick the wrong foods
Right.
and alcohol, and that's doesn't really go hand in hand with energy healing.
No.
But it would bring me right back down to earth, that's for sure.
I think about yoga because yoga you're supposed to do on an empty stomach as well.
Yeah, I
Partly,
usually have to actually.
partly for practical reasons, like all that twisting and hanging upside down.
Yeah,
Your poor stomach may not be too keen on it, but also it is like for letting your
energy.
energy
Yeah,
move properly.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
So cool. Where can everyone find you, by the way, Elizabeth?
Well, so I have a new website. It's Mainstream Coaching and Wellness. So it's www.mainstreamcoachingandwellness.com. It's a long mouthful,
It's
but I
going to
know
be in the
Heather will
show notes.
probably plug that somewhere, right?
It'll be everywhere.
Yeah, thanks. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook of the same name, and I really am active there the most. And I have a
On the
podcast, of
socials.
course, so you should listen to my podcast,
Definitely check it.
Especially Heather's episode.
Yeah, everybody should run over and listen to my episode 100%.
That's right. Let's see what episode that I'll tell you. It's just with Heather Stewart. It was season 2,
Season 2.
and I
And
can
it
give you the
was
episode
in
number too. It just will take me a second to figure
it
it
was
out.
in was it in November? I feel like it
Well,
was
I
in
can tell
November.
you in 2 seconds. 1, 2, episode 48 with Heather Stewart. So it came out maybe December 2nd,
Oh, maybe it was December.
but it was if you're looking, it's episode 48, season 2.
Yay for season 2.
I really enjoyed our time together on that podcast. That was fun.
Yep, this was fun too.
Of course.
Of course. Before we go though, I always ask everyone, do you have a final word of wisdom?
Yeah, I do. There's a quote out there, and I'm going to find it. So I
It's
don't,
divine download.
hold on, ready? Um, it's something like if you don't listen to your body when it whispers, then you have to listen to it when it screams. Did we talk about this on your podcast? Okay,
Probably.
so for some reason that's coming to me, and I'll tell you why. We were really supposed to talk about emotions and energy and all of that stuff, but when we keep things trapped up in our body like that, emotions, energy, situations, anxiety, shame, guilt, all of that stuff, then it can affect our body physically, not to mention
Yeah.
emotionally and spiritually. So, get aware, start listening to your body, listen to your thoughts, just become aware. That's it. And don't wait until your body screams. Um, listen to it when it whispers.
Yes. Yes. I always say it's probably what we talked about on your podcast is the body screaming is pain, right?
Or
Because
fear,
that's, or fear,
fear,
because it doesn't
pain.
know how to speak
Yep.
English.
Yeah. And all we need to do is quiet our mind for a moment and connect.
Right.
And
It'll
I
tell you.
practice daily meditation.
And if you don't know how to meditate, Elizabeth, are there some on your website?
So, if you don't know how to meditate, my suggestion would be to download that Insight Timer app. And I would find you can use the timer, you can search for topics like anxiety, depression, sleep. You can do by time. So, if you only have 5 minutes, look for a meditation that's only 5 minutes long. And you
Yeah.
can search for that way. Go on YouTube, find 6 minute meditation if you can. Um, focus on your breath, connect to your body. 6 minutes or more twice a day really is the best. But if you only have 6 minutes one time a day, then start that with
Yeah.
that.
And don't start with an expectation, start with curiosity,
They say
right?
have a beginner's mind. And I, every time I sit down to meditate, I practice like I'm a beginner. So anything that comes up in my mind, I don't beat myself up for it. It is what it is. I'm a beginner. I'm practicing, and that's it. And I always say this is my other piece of advice. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Told you I was long winded. What I say during a lot of my guided meditations with my students is this: it's not about emptying your mind of all of your thoughts. It's about noticing when you have those thoughts, becoming more aware of the thoughts that are coming through the mind. Because once you're aware of those, you're able to say, okay, now can I focus on something else? You're able to put that aside. And that practice during meditation helps you during your non meditative state when you're living your life, driving home from work, and you're like, oh my God, how did I even get home? I don't know what happened. Like, how did I even get here? So when you notice that you're distracted more and more every day when you're not meditating, you notice when you're having those intrusive thoughts and you can stop them. You can choose what to
Right.
do. So
Yeah.
that's really all of my,
That's not all of your wisdom, but that's
that's
all we can fit in.
right. Oh my gosh, I have so much more.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank
so much.
you. So much fun again talking to you.
Same.
My friends in podcast land, check out all of the websites, check out the podcasts, share, like, subscribe, tell us what you think, give us some comments,
Yeah.
and have a day. Have an awesome day, my friends. Take care.